So the podcast I listened to was called Wow in the World, and the creators are Tinkercast and Wondery. The episode I listened was Nose Picking Friends, and I'm gonna read the summary. It says Mindy is throwing a nose picking party to test friendship. Of course, learn the how and wow of why researchers think the way you smell may affect who you want to be friends with. It's the who, what, when, where, how, and wow of your signature scent. So, I personally thought this podcast was really good for kids because it involved a storyline with like some funny jokes, some entertainment for kids. But in addition with that, it did involve some learning and educational values. Like in this specific one, it involved the scientific method, and it did explain like what the steps were and what researchers did to find out why they think that humans have certain attractions to people's body odors. I thought it was funny. It is really good. I enjoyed listening to it, and they're pretty short for the most part. They're around 20 minutes, give or take. What I would do in the classroom is split it in half, and have like one half explain like what they listen, what they learn, what they thought was cool, and then play the other half maybe the next day, and then have them do the same thing and do a little side activity with that. But for the most part, I thought it was a good podcast for kids. It was funny. It involved like different voices, different characters. I thought it was great. So I feel like blogging is one of the ways that you could really use in the classroom, blogging and podcasting. But I've thought about blogging because one of my teachers actually did this recently. So at the school, he was gone for like a week, and he blogged about how his baby was doing. Like every day he would like post a new video about his new little baby, and how he and his wife were doing, and the kids seem to really enjoy that. They really like to see more of that human life value, because a lot of kids think teachers live at school when it's not true. We do not live at school. How I would use blogging would be like, for example, I'd be baking a cake and I used the wrong measurements and my cake turned out like this, and then have the kids maybe explain what I did wrong, what steps I could have changed. Or in addition, I could be blogging also like growing a plant and seeing the measurements and how that plant grew, and like why did that plant grow. I think it shows more of like that your teacher has a life outside the classroom, and in addition you could put some educational undertones with that, so students could feel involved with you, because they do want to see more of you outside. I know a lot of my kids ask me what I'm doing on my weekends, or like where I go, or like what do you do, Miss? Are you gonna go watch us? They want to see that involvement with them, and I feel like by doing blogging or podcasting, and putting a little educational undertone in that, it has them like being active, feel like they're actually part of your life, like they're actually seeing part of you outside of that classroom. And it's very important. Like anytime a teacher who like was gone for a baby or something, and they did like photos, they showed us photos or something, it felt like we were part of that life too. And I think blogging is something that I would personally use. I've thought about it too. I thought maybe like something like maybe a dog, like learning new tricks, or like again, like learning about measurements, science. I think it would work. Okay, so my experience with Prezi, uh, I personally do not like Prezi. I feel like it's a bit overstimulating to me. Like anytime my teacher used Prezi, I just felt like it was so overstimulating. I could not understand the concepts. Um, I struggled using Prezi. Like this is like about the second or third time I've used Prezi, and I just do not like it. I do not like Prezi. It's not for me. I rather use PowerPoint or Google Slides, just because I can control what I'm seeing. Like I can focus on my idea, and I know what I'm gonna put down. With Prezi, I feel so overstimulated. I don't even know what to like put. I feel like if I were to use Prezi, excuse me, it'd be for like a fun activity or something like that. Like it wouldn't be to exactly teach something with it. I just feel like it's too much movement for children. I even like anytime a teacher who used it, I was overstimulated. I could not focus on what they were teaching me. It's just too much for me. I feel like when Prezi compares to PowerPoint, PowerPoint's a lot better to me because I can control, like there's not too much movement. Like I know it's cool that Prezi has like that paths, I guess, that goes but it's just too much for me. Like I can't with all that, and I rather use PowerPoint where it goes to one slide to the next, one slide to the next. And I understand like there's some kids who do enjoy Prezi because of like all that movement when they're like not as bored in class because of that. But for me, it's just too much movement, too much distraction, and I'd rather just use PowerPoint to teach in general over Prezi. If I were to use Prezi again, I'd probably be for a game or activity, or like maybe doing a storyline. I think a storyline would be cool. Just having like a character be up front and then like moving on and on. But other than that, I would not use Prezi as like a daily thing for classrooms. It's just too much for me, and I feel like it overstimulates a lot of the students.